Hey, we're all going for lunch. You want to join us?
No, I'm busy.
Be sure it's going to be fun.
Nah, I'm good.
Okay. Hey, are you okay?
Yeah, really, I'm fine.
Okay. Well, you have a good weekend. I'll see you on Monday.
What you just saw is a rendition in the day of the life of me and my struggles with depression. Some days I feel like I'm standing on the edge of the black hole, looking down, hoping I don't fall in. And some days I'm hanging onto the edge of that black hole with one finger and hoping I'll just make it through the day and not fall all the way down.
Depression is a major medical illness. It's different than regular sadness. What depression is, it's a more physical manifestation of regular mood fluctuation that we would see. It goes beyond the regular everyday ups and downs of life, and it starts to regularly affect the way that we behave on a regular basis. So a person that's depressed would be more likely to isolate at home, distance themselves from things that they normally are interested in doing. They may have difficulty sleeping, getting to work, interacting with family and friends becomes more challenging for them. Appetites change. Sometimes people that are depressed want to eat. Sometimes they are not hungry at all and they start losing weight. And it starts to affect their physical health as well then, because they're not sleeping and eating like they should, and so it kind of cascades downward, and that's where we see reduced functioning with depression. I think the biggest thing with depression is that people feel like it's just a normal thing, you should just be able to get over it. You know, pick yourself up by your bootstraps, but that's not how it works. Once you're depressed, a lot of times you don't recognize that depression right away, and it gets so far into it that it just feels like normal life to you, that's how life should feel. Your thought process follows right along with that too, and so the negative thoughts start coming in, and that's where we enter into anxiety, and you don't realize that you're there until you're so far in, it's hard to climb back out on your own.
What it's like to live with depression is not what everybody thinks it is. It's not crying all the time. It's not constant sadness. It's hopelessness. It's feeling unworthy. It's feeling like you just can't get through a day. It's going through the motions, but never having the feelings associated with those motions. And it's kind of being like robotic. You put a mask on before you leave your house, you deal with the things you need to deal with during the day, and you get home to realize that you are absolutely exhausted of pretending to be what you aren't.
Depression is probably one of the most common illnesses that we see in our office. It goes along with so many other things. So even if it's not the main presenting symptom, a lot of times it comes along with it. And so I would say probably general population is like 1 in 6 people will suffer from depression at some point in their life. But if there is another instance that comes up, say there is some grief and loss that's happening and it doesn't get dealt with immediately, then depression is likely to follow. And it happens with medical illnesses as well, dealing with loss of functionality. Physically can lead to depressed states as well. So we're seeing it coming from a lot of different areas, and it's affecting all populations. And it's affecting people that you know, it's affecting your family members, and it's okay to come and tell somebody about it. It's absolutely the best thing you can do for yourself to acknowledge it and get some help. We see depression in all age groups, actually. We see it in young children. It manifests differently with them. It can be irritability, crying, tantrum behavior. And then in the teenage years, it can be kind of a rebellious time. They're pushing against their parents, they're breaking the rules, they're crying more than you would expect them to. They just seem like they're not quite the kid that they used to be. And it can be really subtle in teenagers because we always chalk it up to, oh, it's puberty, it's hormones, it's normal, and there becomes a point where it's not, where it is really a medical issue at that point. And then in adults, it's kind of the more typical depression that you think of, the sadness, the not going to work, the isolating. Those typical depression things are what we see in adults. And then when we get to the elderly, we notice in depression that they lose their memory faster, they seem forgetful and angry, and they don't really realize that it's depression that's affecting all those things. It can come off looking as dementia when really what they're dealing with is a depressive symptom. In therapy, a lot of times we'll start on what is the thought process that's holding you in that depressed state. Is it that everything seems terrible? Everything is just a catastrophe in your life, that it's the worst case scenario all the time. Those negative thoughts, the anxious thoughts that come in that reinforce that depressed mood that you're having. And behaviorally, we want to make sure we're doing things like getting out, getting up, taking a shower, making sure you're getting exercise, that you're eating a healthy diet, that you're doing things that are going to enable your body to overcome the depression, because really depression is physical and mental, and so we need to take care of both sides. When people come in, we give them all the options available to them and decide together what's going to be most helpful. They decide how they want to best treat the depression, and we are here as guides for them to make sure that they get the best possible results. We provide a lot of education, and so that people can choose what's really right for them in their life right now. If somebody comes and they want to know more about the medication side, a lot of times people are anti-medication, and that's definitely okay. It's okay to not want to try that first. Sometimes it's okay to try therapy first and give that a go, and then work with your therapist, work with your medical provider, and together you can decide what's right for each individual person. The antidepressants that are being prescribed right now are so much better than they used to be in the past. Before, we used to see a lot of numbing, a lot of dysfunction that came up in other areas of their life when they started taking an antidepressant that actually made people stop taking them, because it's better to feel depressed than it was to feel the physical symptoms of taking antidepressants. And now that's kind of gone. So the stigma of antidepressants also has gone away with the more we know about the illness itself and how to treat it appropriately.
When people tell me to suck it up, it's all in your head, you're gonna be fine, chin up, you'll get through it, it almost makes it worse. What I need is people to just put their hand on my shoulder, be there for me, tell me they're there for me, and actually be there. Don't just say it, but do it. I think it can be really hard to recognize signs with anybody with depression, because a lot of people, if they're suffering from it, have learned how to hide it. But the biggest thing is if they start withdrawing, if they're not answering their phone, responding to text messages. You see that they used to be very active on social media and they start really not being active, or posting things that are very down and very black, I call it, where it just seems like there's something really wrong. Or I think another big thing, if you live with someone with depression, if they just don't seem to be finding interest in anything anymore. They used to go out to the lake and go swimming every single day, and now they don't even want to go do that. It's a huge sign that there's something going on, and that's when someone needs to reach out and say, are you okay? I'm here for you. How can I help? If someone says that they're fine, that's when you say, if you ever feel that you aren't fine, you need to let me know. I'm here. I will go with you to an appointment if you need to go in and be seen. I'm here to talk, whatever it might be. If you feel like someone is in a really bad place and they aren't willing to get that help, there are so many different places that you can contact, like the Becker County Crisis Team, and they will be there in a heartbeat. They will come to you, you can text them, you can call them. That's what needs to happen, because sometimes we're not willing to admit, and there's been many times that I have not been willing to admit that I am in a bad place. But my family sees it, and that's when they reach out. And I think especially with people who are new to dealing with depression, they don't really know how to reach out. But I think people like myself who have struggled for so many years, we've learned that it's okay to reach out and it's okay to say that we're not okay.
If somebody you love is depressed, be there for them. Make sure that they know that you're there. Give them just the love that they need at that point in time. It's not something that you need to fix. There's people in the field that can help them, and your job as a support person is to just make sure that they know that they're not alone and that it's common and it's okay. It's not the end of the world.